So I'm Brandon Neal. I work for the University of Iowa, and this is the creating ctools content types, aka custom, what we call them custom panel panes. So how many of you use panels on your sites? Raise of hands. Sometimes, okay. So this quick presentation will apply mostly to those of you that do or are interested in that. So if you're not, feel free to leave if you want. But so this is a Drupal 7 presentation. I just wanted to make that clear. I think I made a huge mistake, and I have a lot of information I wanted to cover. In 20 minutes, probably mini session is probably not the best place for this, but we'll see what happens. So first time for this. So first off, what's a ctools content type? So ctools has a lot of different plugins that you can create. Like layout plugins, relationship plugins, context. And a content type is one of those types of plugins. So they're sort of like blocks, but one of the reasons we like to use them, one, we do a lot of panels, and so they're just handy in that way, but also they let us add multiple of one type to a pane. And so with if you're just using the block system in the blocks interface, you could add, one block into the blocks listing. So for us, that's one of the handy reasons we use these custom content types. Although I will say content type is very confusing because, there's the other content type in Drupal. So what I'm talking about are just a second. Some of the content types we've created for some of our sites are so for the University of Iowa, we always need a handy campus map pane, as well as we've got a pane for making a department needs an individual pane for the building that they're in, that sort of a thing. And then we also have a little pane for, we have a bus system on campus it's called Bongo, and it brings in the real-time predictions for, it's not hard to see, I guess, for the upcoming buses on campus for different stops. So we use Panelizer often, so this is just a panelized node and the in-place editor. And I don't know if you've seen this before, but when you make a custom content type, you essentially have, you can use the form API to provide custom fields on your pane. And that's the kind of thing we do with these custom content types. Now that was a pretty simple example I looked at with the map. There really aren't many options. You can set the height of your map. But with this Bongo one, is that too small? You can set which stop do I want to show, as well as how many predictions to show, that sort of thing. And so we like to use this inside, on a panel page or on a panel page or on a panelized node to, show the closest, for instance, the closest stops for people to get to a place. So, and when you add new ones of these, they come up in this handy sidebar where you can, and I can show you when I create a plugin that you can specify these. So we have a service on campus called SiteNow, and we put a lot of custom panel panes into that because people understand what the SiteNow service is. So let's see. So how to build your own, because I did put this as a coder session. The only hard dependency that you need is the ctools module. So if you're using views, you've already, on your site you already are using the ctools module, but you really need to use something like Page Manager to actually have this be useful and with the panel suite of tools. I actually put together a custom one for this, a custom module for this event, and it's the Corny module, and it's available on GitHub. Yes. And so what it does is, as we'll see, it creates a custom ctools content type where you can drop in and select what year you came to the conference and what type of badge you'd like to show on your page. So if you were an attendee, if you were an individual sponsor or a sponsor, we've got those badges. So that's what it does for you. You don't have to go get the badge yourself. You can just use the module. So how many of you have created a module before? Okay. Really, to do one of these custom content panes, you need three different files. For any Drupal 7 module, you need a .info file, and really this is, I'm specifying that actually worked. The name of the module, a description, which version of Drupal, and then of course my dependency on ctools. So that goes in, the root of your module. And then I also need a .module file for this, and let me bring that a little closer. And so I need to use one hook provided by ctools for this, and it's hook ctools plugin directory. And what that's going to let me do is ctools is going to discover this next file that I'm going to show you in the right place. So really, I've got a plugins folder in my module, and then the type of plugin, which is content type, and then I'm calling this file corn badge. So this is the first part of my .inc file, and you specify a plugin array. And so at the end of the presentation, there's some links I have for how to. There's quite a few blog posts on this, how to create this, since I'm going kind of fast. But they're very good and they're very in depth. But basically, going through this array, I'm saying that it's a single plugin that I'm specifying in this include file. The type of the plugin is what's going to show up inside the pane selection widget inside of panels, inside of page manager. A description, what category, and this is the category on the left-hand side of when I showed that pop-up inside the section. And then essentially three different functions that I'm going to need to provide for the plugin to work. And so there's a render callback, or there's an edit form, there's a render callback, and an administrative info function that I'll show in a bit. And then any sort of defaults that I want to provide for the pane. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So also still in this file, I'm now specifying the admin info callback.
And it's cutting you off a little bit on the right-hand side.
Okay. Well, sure. I will not zoom. That might be a little small. But all this is available. I'll have this on the presentation page, so you can take a look at the presentation later. So yeah, this is the admin info back, and basically what I'm doing. The most important part here is this content piece for me, and I'll show you where this is shown later. But basically, I'm saying I'm using the T function and rendering. I'm showing the DrupalCorn Camp, whatever year I've specified, whatever type badge, and this is shown in the panels interface to easily see. Oh, okay, this is what is being provided. The next, I'll try this again. So the next function. I'll do that. All right, there we go. So here's the edit form, and this is where I'm using the form API to specify, some different fields. I have a select field with right now 3 different options for the 3 different years that I found badges for. and then also a type field, which is going to do my attendee, individual sponsor, and sponsor information. And then actually, I also needed a form submit here, which is this is the generic one we've been using, but it basically is going to take all of the values from my form elements and from the function specified above, and I'm setting them into a conf, essentially a conf array, so I can then use it in the render function. So that's what this one is. So this one's a bit longer. So it's corn badge render, and I'm providing a generic title right here for my pane. I'm then building right now a path to. I have an assets folder that I guess I didn't talk about here, but I have an assets folder in my module, which I've created directories for each of my for each of the year camp years. And then I have files like the badges named appropriately, like the type of badge it is, if it's attendee, sponsor, that sort of thing. So I'm getting a path to an image, and then I'm creating my image using theme image, and then wrapping a link around it based on the URL of the camp. So this is all the code for it. It creates this this badge pane. Oh no! Okay. And I will show you what that looks like. I'll show it in multiple ways. So this is the general. Earlier I showed using the Panelizer module in the in-place editor, but this is just a regular through Page Manager created panel, and so I'm going to edit this panel, and I've already set it up into 3 different columns here. But let's say on the left-hand side I want to add some content, and I want to add my my new pane widget that I made. I put it in. When I made this, I specified what category it is, and I said DrupalCorn, and that's where this is provided. And my DrupalCorn Camp badge pane. So I don't know maybe we'll start with 2012, just work our way over in the site. So let's show the 2012 one for individual sponsor, click finish. And then if I drop down this little arrow here, is that cutting off?
It's good.
Okay. So right here is where this is the admin info. This is where the admin info function renders. So showing DrupalCorn Camp 2012 individual sponsor badge. So now if I update and save this, there's my badge. So I'll put the 2013 one in here. Say I was an individual sponsor then. And I'll also put the 2014 one on the right-hand side. Hooray! And then this is a panelized node, and I'm using the in-place editor. If I can customize this page, I can do essentially the same thing. It's just in a nicer. I don't want to say what you see is what you get, but with a preview of what it's going to look like on the page. So I don't actually see the admin info text here. I just see a rendered preview of what it's going to look like.
5 minutes.
Okay. So that's my custom content pane. Let's see. Are there any questions?
I'm curious.
Maybe
when you made that the .inc file.
Yeah.
And for me, still kind of starting out and building modules. I hadn't seen the image tag and creating images that way. How did you kind of learn for that part? Did you take like other modules and see how they did it and paste it in? Or?
Well, I really wanted to make all of that. I'll show you. So you're wondering about this part of my render function?
Sure.
Yeah. I actually wanted to make that one entire render array, and I tried to do that here in my block content below. But I was having some issues with that, so I actually then decided to use theme image up here to do it first. So I must have been doing something incorrectly. It would be great to hear, even if this is a really good idea. But I don't know. I just found I knew that there was an image, like a theme function for image. So I went and looked it up, and I used that, and I knew that there had to be a way through the render array that we could do, link. And I found out that it was actually type link, not theme link, because that doesn't work very well in this case. Yeah, I just went to the API website, the api.drupal.org, and just found what I needed there. A little poking around. So right now you may be wondering, well, why don't I just make a block out of these things? Because that's kind of what I'm doing here is very similar to making a custom block. Obviously, block hooks are different than this, but one thing I wanted to point out real quick was we like to do it this way because of ctools context usage, and I don't mean like the context module. There's ctools provided context plugins that you can use, and so with that, you can actually, let's say when you want to add content in panels, you can, when you bring up that screen where it has the categories on the side, if you use, like for us, using Panelizer, which lets us panelize any node, we get the context of that content type there, of that entity, and we can actually say, well, I only want to show, in my plugin definition, I could say, well, I only want to show this on nodes, where if we were panelizing like a taxonomy term, then our pane wouldn't even show up in that context, which is really nice. Because you don't want people like placing panes on other types of data in your site. So that's one handy thing that we've used before. And then also this is like the coolest thing that we're just starting to use, where you can do keyword substitution from your node. So for instance, one, you have to put all context equals or is true in your plugin array, but then in your render function you can use this function called ctools context keyword substitute. And what that will do is, let's say that I didn't do it in this example, but let's say that I had another field on my pane where it was a text field, and I could write in like a nice message or something to put in that block. In panels, you can actually get, like, let's say that on my node I had a field, like a body field or something, or another text field. I could get that. I could actually get that the data like from that field and use it in this instance just by using a %. Like, I can show you what the keyword looks like, but that might make a little bit more sense than me rambling. So actually, this is what, if you click on the context option, so for this, I can use I could use the node ID if I wanted to, or I could get what node type it is, or get the body field, and I could use that inside of my pane, which is pretty awesome. Are there any other questions? We've got like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Does the ctools also integrate with the field API? Can you make these plugins fillable?
I don't know actually. I know the form API itself works, but I don't know if you can actually use the field API. It's a good question. So here's some resources I used. There is a good plugin example within ctools. That's the bottom one, and that's where I would recommend starting. Yeah. Any other questions? All right.